Within about 30 years of the death of the Prophet, the Muslim world will have become an empire, and Islam will have spread from east to west, creating a monolith of land that is now under the control of Islamic rulers. If you get a look at the slide in the upper left, you can get a little bit of the extent of this. The thing that's so surprising about it is that it happens so quickly. The dynasty that follows the death of the Prophet will be the Umayyads. They're going to be a clan within the folks originally harking from the city of Mecca. They're going to create an impressive area of power. There are going to be 14 of them, 14 Umayyad rulers. So it is going to be a dynastic rule. Initially, by expanding this much, the rulers found that it was very difficult to maintain a location this is the original location, the two spots, Mecca and Medina. The Umayyads found it difficult to put a center here and rule this vast empire, so they're going to move it up to a more centralized location, and it's going to be in the city of Damascus. Consequently, they are looking for a religious site to build architecture in that would be sacred to Islam, that would be a little bit closer than Mecca and Medina, two sites that had very important religious meaning. Mecca, of course, has the Kaaba, and Medina also had the House of the Prophet, basically the first mosque. What the Umayyads come up with is the city of Jerusalem, and it will be the city of Jerusalem, a holy city traditionally holy to both Jews and to Christians, the folks who were monotheists before the Muslims. It will be in that city that the Muslims will build their first great monument, and it will be the Dome of the Rock. You're seeing an overview of the Dome of the Rock in the lower right, located right here. This is the Dome of the Rock, and it is figure 10.2 in our textbook. It was created in the late 7th century, and it is the first major Muslim piece of architecture that was created under the Umayyad dynasty, which makes it the first Muslim architecture ever created. It is a very important building, and sometimes you will hear about it in the news in the 21st century, so it remains to be critical to our understanding not just of Islam, but also sometimes to politics in the world. The building is centrally planned. It is octagonal in shape, and it has a central dome in the middle of it. That dome rises to 75 feet, and you can say that it is gilded. What that means is, particularly elevated as it is on the Temple Mount, that it's visible throughout the entire city of Jerusalem. The building is covered both inside and out with mosaics. The mosaics on the exterior have been replaced because being exposed to the elements outside, they became worn and had to be replaced. They've been replaced at least twice. The mosaic work that we're looking at here was put on under the direction of the Ottomans, so much later in time than the construction of the building. The mosaics on the inside, however, are original. They are original to the late 7th century, and therefore are among the earliest examples of Islamic art that have survived. These mosaics also, I need to tell you, were probably created by Byzantine artists. And you might be wondering, well, why would Christian Byzantine artists be here decorating an Islamic monument? And the answer is because they were invited, and it's a good job, and artists are simply doing their job. But second, the Muslims wanted the best mosaic creators that they could find, and the best were the Byzantines. So they're going to invite the Byzantines to come. The Byzantines are going to take the job offer, and they're going to be the ones who will create we'll see the interior decoration in a minute, the interior decoration as well as originally the exterior of this incredible monument. So what is the Dome of the Rock? It is not a mosque. It is not designed to be a mosque. It is rather a shrine. It is a shrine protecting and drawing attention to a sacred rock. So the next question is, what is so important about this rock? Well, this rock is a really significant piece of real estate that is sacred to Jews, to Christians, and to Muslims. It is believed to be the spot where Abraham was tested by God, where God called Abraham to sacrifice his only son, and Abraham passes the test, being willing to sacrifice his son, but at the last minute, of course, is spared this by giving an alternate sacrifice to offer to God. That makes this particular location an important one, and maybe I'm going to say a contested one, because all three monotheistic religions would like to lay claim to this holy location. In addition to that, this real estate is also sacred, particularly sacred to the Jews, because it is the Temple Mount, the platform on which Jews constructed originally Solomon's temple. That temple was destroyed, I believe, in the 6th century by the Babylonians, and they rebuilt that temple, creating the second temple, which was destroyed in the year 70 CE by the Romans. So this is an historically important site for the Jews. The Jews still gather at the base of the wall of the Temple Mount, and it will be there, the western wall, where Jews will routinely pray today. So it's remained an important part of Judaism. In addition to that, it is particularly important to Muslims because it's believed that this is the spot of the rock, was the location where the Prophet Muhammad began his night journey from the earth to the throne of God. Some people suggest that that is a mystical journey. Other people suggest that it was a physical journey. What we do know is the site of origination for that journey is generally accepted as the rock, which is underneath the dome. In other words, this is really important to Muslims as well. This is a diagram so you can get a sense of what this looks like. It is octagonal, and as you would enter, what you would do is circumambulate, which means to walk around. So there are pathways to walk around the shrine, which preserves and decorates the rock. So you can see the rock under the dome, directly located in the center. That dome is actually a double-shelled dome because it is so tall. It would look a little bit like a hollow tube unless there was actually a lower interior dome that was put in to bring the dome down to human level. This dome has been elevated on a drum, D-R-U-M, that's this portion of the building. And anytime you see a drum in architecture, you have to assume that an artist is consciously elevating a portion of the building, in this case the dome, up to the skies. And for the Dome of the Rock, that was done intentionally to make this visible from a distance. This is a view into the interior dome, again with windows at the base, helping to make it look floating. As we take a look at this, we have the earliest texts that survive from the Quran, and there are 700 feet of Arabic inscriptions that help to decorate the Dome of the Rock. And yes, again, that means that there are no figures, no images of life forms, essentially, no humans, no animals, and certainly never a depiction of Allah, which would have been unthinkable within Islam. This is a view of this building from a distance within the city of Jerusalem. And what we believe that's been done here is the construction of this building was intended to make a statement about the connection between Islam and the two religions that came before it, Judaism and then Christianity. Within Islam, it is considered that, I'm going to say each of those faiths is a kind of overlay, one on top of the other, Islam being the third and the final fulfillment of revelations from God to his people, but maintaining a connection with the earlier faiths. And in this case, because it is the final revelations, the final message, the final prophet, in this case Muhammad, the Muslims are literally showing that their building is the fulfillment of the earlier religious structures, and it literally towers above them. And it does. It shines over everything in Jerusalem, and it is taller than everything else in Jerusalem. It is on top of the Jewish foundation, and it is much more visible than the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre is the holiest building in Christendom because it's believed to be a building that contains the burial spot of Jesus. And it too is a dome structure. I'm having a little trouble finding it in my slide because my slide is kind of small, but I think that the Dome of the Holy Sepulchre is located right back here. It is below, and in comparison, much more difficult to see than the Dome of the Rock. The Dome of the Rock is both religious and political statement, indicating the arrival of the Umayyads, but also, more importantly, the arrival and the permanence of Islam as a religion that grows out of and develops from two earlier faiths.